Lesson 1B, Blockchain Mining. Mining crypto tokens is done by using consensus protocols. Consensus protocols are methods by which miners create new tokens for the network. So what does this mean? In order to participate in certain cryptocurrency networks, you have to abide by the rules, and these rules are listed out before you join the network. So you participating in the network assumes that you are abiding by the rules. Now, in a case like Bitcoin, we'll look at these two most common consensus protocols. Bitcoin runs on proof of work. So what the proof of work consensus protocol means is you are using work or your power or your electricity, your computer's hashing power or computing power to mine tokens. That's how tokens are mined in Bitcoin. You're using your power or your actual physical work with your computer to mine these tokens. So when you participate in a network like Bitcoin, proof of work network, you're agreeing to abide by these rules and to create tokens using that consensus protocol. Now, on the other hand, a lot of new projects are moving towards a more proof of stake consensus protocol, which is a lot less energy intensive. You don't have to use a bunch of electricity or power to do so. But what proof of stake does is you actually stake, or you put your existing tokens up in order to mine new tokens. So for example, on proof of work, let's say you have X amount of computing power and someone else has X minus 1 amount of computing power. Here, you having X amount of computing power, you'd have a greater chance of mining the block as opposed to someone with X minus 1 because they have less computing power to mine the block. So let me try to explain it a little bit better. Miners compete to solve the cryptographic code that is created in order to confirm the next block. So just like we talked about in our previous lesson, when you're mining cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, you are trying to compete with everyone else in the network to be the first to solve a cryptographic function. And in order to solve that cryptographic function, you're using your computing power and your electricity in order to do so. So the more computing power you have, the greater chance you have of mining that next block. And when you mine that next block, you get the reward. So in exchange for your electricity and your computing power, you had to spend money to do that. So now when you solve the code, you get Bitcoin back and you're able to cover your costs and make money on the resources that you just used to secure the network. Now the miner that solves the code first will get the reward. That miner then shares his result with the rest of the network. So since you were the first node or miner to mine the block, you then share that solution with everyone else, and immediately you and everyone else then starts working on the next block to solve its cryptographic code. So it's a continuous cycle of trying to mine blocks and get rewarded for your work. And the same happens with proof of stake. Just like computing power, proof of stake, you're staking your tokens. You're putting your tokens up in order to mine new blocks. So just like proof of work, the more hashing power, the more computing power you have, in proof of stake, the more tokens you are staking and putting up into the network, the higher chance you have of mining that block. So that's the difference between proof of work and proof of stake, and how these different consensus protocols work to help secure different cryptocurrency networks.